Energy, energy, energy.
Energy, energy,
Genuine
energy,
reactions.
energy, 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 energy.
RuPaul Drag Race.
There we go. Oh my God, I love it. Love it.
Hey, kitty girls, it's Wednesday, May 27th, 2020, and welcome to Cubs Out Loud Drag Race Tea Time, Season 12, Episode number 13. Alone, together.
Aww.
Here we are, children. And yes, for those of you that don't know, I'm Gary, one of the illustrious co-hosts, but my fantabulous co-star right over here is...
Hello, everyone. It's Damon. Welcome to the slumber party. Ba, ba, ba.
Yes, honey.
Mask and all. Look at you. Different kind of mask instead of the coronavirus mask.
Oh, very true, very true. So, here's my question for you, David, before we get into the episode. Do you recall this type of a look?
Oh. It looks so familiar. I'm having the hardest time.
I will tell you who wore it, or something like
Okay.
it. Mother Rue.
Oh God. Oh. I recognize, like I can see it in my head.
She poked her head into the workroom.
Oh, I don't remember. Oh God.
And then she says
Go
some
ahead.
classic line, which I'm going to lose gay points for. And she was like, "Could you keep it down in here?" But she had her hair up, curlers.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Ah,
Big old face mask.
Look at you.
So I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, I'm going to put a little beauty mask on because it's a slumber
There.
party, children.
Beauty mask. I'm sitting here like patting my fucking head. So
to be fair to our listeners and our watchers, I sort of sprung this on Damon before the show. I was like, by the way, I'm going with the slumber party thing. And he's like, okay, let me see what I can do.
let me see what I can rustle up. As I like think about it, and the first thing I was like, Jim. The first thing Jim said was like, do you have like a mask, like a clay mask? And I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't. One, I don't have one, and two, I don't think I would want that on my face the entire time. But whatever. Good for you.
Yeah, well,
But
we'll see how bad my face is after the show's over.
I know,
wash
right?
it all off.
It will be exfoliated. Like
That and then some.
Yes.
And it could have been a bad choice if I had, which I don't, but if I'd gone with like a charcoal mask.
I don't know.
Can we say blackface, anybody?
No, man.
Don't.
Ooh,
Don't. Right. That's what I'm saying.
ooh.
I'm like, can't they make them in colors, like nice colors?
Yeah, well, this is fine. You're good.
Yeah.
I like the purple.
Yes. I thought about trying to figure out. I don't have rollers. I was like, oh, maybe I could put my hair in a roller. Like,
I would have loved if you put your hair in rollers. I would have
closest thing I
died.
had was a toilet paper roll, and I was like, oh, I'm not dealing with
No,
that.
we ain't got time for all that.
No.
Like put toilet paper roll, like cut it up a couple and just like throw like some pins in it. Like you might be bloodied afterwards, but like, hey, it's for the art.
Yes.
Well, anyway.
Yes. Speaking of for the art, you ready to get into our first section?
Yeah.
All right.
Gentlemen, start your engines, and may the best woman win.
All right. So this is the reunited episode. 12 queens return to the screen
Bitch.
during this time of quarantine. And so they do this cute little number called the Shady Bunch. Obviously pre-recorded. Everybody was sent the track so they could lip sync to it. And they got all like the camera, like different feeds recorded so they could do a nice little edit it thing. Uh,
Uh-huh.
so normally we do put the pedal to the metal and we talk about the challenges, but I was like, you know what? Let's just talk about overall thoughts because this is a one in a what is it like? 3, 4 plus. So what is this? This is like season 18, 19, 20. If you count every single thing of Drag Race that's ever existed,
Mm-hmm.
including Drag U. So we have never ever, children, had a quote unquote live feed recorded from wherever you put your camera,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of thing. So yes, I I was not sure what to expect. So David, what were your overall
Same.
thoughts?
So I was very happy with the, I think it was very fun and quirky. Like that's the thing I said. I said it was a decent reunion. It had the just right amount of things I wanted to see. I wanted to hear about some of the queens. I wanted to hear where they are, some of the good and bad things that have happened in the season. They went over some of the drama, which is always nice to have. And um, the thing I think I loved the most, believe it or not, was the beginning where every queen kind of said where they were and where they're recording from.
Mm,
We knew that we had several New York queens. We know, but they mentioned that Britta, for a fact, is not home. She was not home when they recorded because she's asthmatic and she decided to go somewhere else. Like I guess to her family.
hmm.
Let me look at yeah.
In
I think she's in
Maine,
Maine.
yes.
Yeah, she's in Maine with her family, which is kind of. I mean, that makes sense if you're one of the um, um, people that could potentially be affected by this virus and you live in like a big city where well we know New York was had a lot of cases and issues,
Hmm.
so it was great. I mean it was understanding for her to have stepped away from all of that because they're not really doing a whole lot, unfortunately. The queens can't really perform in the clubs because the clubs are closed. And
Right.
so I was happy kind of to like hear those little like where we are and what we're doing. And um you know everyone is mostly was I'm pretty sure was staying safe and being safe and all that fun stuff. And um I liked um that they kept it relevant to the time. And like you said, Gary, there's probably not going to be anything like this, hopefully knock on wood, again. Like this is definitely an unprecedented kind of situation, and they did the best that they could with it.
Hmm.
You know, what it seemed like to me as I was watching is that they chose to focus on one or two queens at a time, as opposed to like doing the whole big like everyone's sitting in the room, everyone can kind of comment, everyone can kind of say whatever. You still got some of that here and there, but like for the most part, it was very just like, hey, Heidi, this how are you been doing? What's been going on with you? And then they kind of showed some clips and stuff, and then you went back to her, and you had some of the other queens comment on things, and you kind of went from there. I really did appreciate that because I think it allowed us an opportunity to really focus on one queen. Whereas if you've been on a Zoom call, sometimes it could be a little bit more difficult to focus on one person. Just saying.
Well, I will say this for the most part, on what you're saying right there, I think a lot of the queens were really good about not talking over each other. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think they've learned the online like video call culture, especially when there's
Mm-hmm.
a group, like it is difficult to hear each other and stuff. So you like kind of like you and I when we do the podcast, it's a conversation. It's a two-way street. It's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
playing tennis or badminton, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you're volleying back and forth, in the conversation.
Yeah.
So I agree with you for the most part, it went that well. Although there are a couple of queens who cannot help but like get themselves, involved and hit
Mm-hmm.
the shade button
Mm-hmm.
because they got an addiction. So so yeah.
What about you, Gary?
I said, dare I say, fun? Like, I think
Oh.
the reunions over the past couple of years of like, they've had some spots of like high drama.
Mm-hmm.
Queens walking out, uh, one of my all-time favorites, Miss Monique Hart calling out Valentina in one moment, and she's like, "Who is she?" Like, just gets right into it in that moment from across the stage. Like,
Yes.
I was like, "Oh, girl, clutch my pearls!" Like, what is this business? But Monique was having none of it. She was like, "That
Mm-hmm.
right there, that is what we're talking about." And I was like, "Oh, hell to the no."
Yes.
So I think that overall it was fun. It was upbeat. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Um, I think all the queens came to best represent themselves and not really have grudges. Like, I know that overall for the season there wasn't much drama between the girls, and some people apparently online complained about that because they just thought that they were all too nice and they all got along too well. And I
Mm.
was like,
Yeah.
like, the reality is as the seasons go by, the only queens I think that will have problems with other queens are young queens, new queens,
Mm.
who have not been in the
Maybe.
scene as long and have had not to rely on someone else for a pair of tights, for a bobby
Mm-hmm.
pin. Do you know what I mean? For a
Yeah.
help with
And
getting cinched and shit like that.
yeah, and kind of to kind of add to that, like this was as they kept mentioning, which I'm a little not a fan of, but like this was a very talented um, group of queens this year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there wasn't like oh my god, you're so terrible, like why are you even here kind of queen, which doesn't really happen that often anymore. But everyone looked good. Everyone seemed to perform well. There were some issues here and there, but for the most part, like everyone seemed to be on their game in their, especially in their like drag persona, as it were.
Right.
Um, and then to add on to it, it was, I think it was probably really, I don't want to say challenging, but I think that they were up for the challenge. you
Mm.
know we've talked about this often, like every year to me, like you have previous seasons to look back on to kind of get an idea of like what worked, what can't, what doesn't work, what can potentially be used in a good way and maybe not a necessarily good way depending on how you're edited and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
um and again, I didn't see a lot of busting of heads or banging of heads or like, that kind of thing this year and or this season. And I think that goes to show you that maybe perhaps like the queens did get along and were okay with each other for the most part. They were all here for the competition, and that's kind of the point. Like at the end of the day, they're here to get to the end and win. Like,
Right.
and maybe that's, all you need to be.
Well, and there was really only one rivalry duo that was shown, and that
Hmm.
was addressed in this episode. Um, Aiden notably felt like a lot of the queens were coming for her,
Hmm.
and I think there was a little bit of a discussion about big personalities and how she's
Yeah.
naturally an introvert, so she was not having it. And she, like some of us, myself sometimes included, you kind of hold things in or bottle it up, and then at some point you just kind of snap your shit out because you have had it
Hmm.
officially. Quote Collins.
Hmm.
So they did talk a little bit about that, the Brita Aiden, thing.
Yeah.
Uh, I, yeah. So I mean, I appreciated it. I also like the fact that Brita like took the better path in the moment to talk about how she got to see a side of herself that she wasn't quite aware of.
Hmm.
Um, and Jan, spoke really well about, that the Brita that we saw on TV is not the Brita 24/7,
Yeah.
is not the Brita in the bar, in the club kind of a thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I don't feel that Jan was kind of forcing a narrative to like save Brita.
Yeah.
Um, I think that like that came out really really well, like
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
terms of recognition, owning it, and a bit of a balance for someone to say, you know, this while this is realistic, it is also not 100% true portrayal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I appreciated that. I think even Jackie,
Yeah.
kind of said
Yeah.
something that.
And yeah, I like that. And one of the things I think I remember the most about it was that Aiden kind of said that this wasn't bullying. She kind of
Mhm.
she kind of played, I hate to say it, she kind of told it like it was, which I thought was very truthful. May not have been so great for Britta, but she kind of pretty much said like Britta was seeing a queen doing
Mhm.
better than her, and she was, lack of a better phrase, attacking that queen
Right.
because of her insecurities. I really did like that like moment that they had there where Aiden kind of spilled the tea on that moment, and um, I really like that. I think that was great, and I think Britta. I'm glad Britta didn't like go. No, that's not what it was. She kind of like
Mm,
owned it, admitted it, and then kind of added her own take on it, which I appreciated.
right. Well, and I will say that I think that that whole kind of dynamic played out well. I initially took when Aiden was talking about bullying, like the way you just said it made me think of it differently. When I watched the episode, I took it as Aiden was saying what Britta was doing to me was not bullying.
Mm-hmm.
Like so social media, aka
Yeah.
Twitter, whatever, y'all need to take
Yeah.
a seat. What
Yeah.
you
I think that's
just
what she was doing. Yeah.
Well, what you just said though made me think about whether or not Aiden's pushback on it was bullying.
Mm.
And I hadn't really considered that. Like the reality is I think Aiden like, did a good job of saying people have opinions, people have emotions. That's the way things
Mm-hmm.
are. Like, and there was no ill intent. Like bullying is usually a defense mechanism where you're coming for somebody a certain way and you
Mm-hmm.
mean to inflict like emotional harm on them.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was really quite the thing. I also want to like give a little recognition. It's been talked about in social media. Britta being in Maine had nothing with her. Like when she left and went to go with her family, she did not bring Britta. You know what I mean? Like she didn't bring her drag with her. So um, I'm not quite sure the story about the frock. I was under the
Mm-hmm.
impression that it was hers and that it had been shipped to her. But on Race Chaser, Willem and Alaska were talking, and apparently the current CEO of Anastasia sent a color kit to Britta so she could have some like something to put a face on with
Oh
because
wow.
she was remote and because there's this discussion on the podcast about who is the CEO of Anastasia, and apparently it's Anastasia's daughter is
Mm-hmm.
the CEO. Daughter being the operative word. I say daughter because I'm not sure if she's bio or
Mm.
what the story is. But yeah, like that was kind of a discussionary point, which I thought was really good.
Interesting.
That
Yeah.
they wanted to at least give her the opportunity,
Yeah.
to put a decent face on. So I was kind of like, oh, well, that's good. Um,
And she did pretty good, if I'm remembering correctly.
well, she did, and then it just occurred to me while we were talking, and I was thinking about the fact that she was in Maine and she didn't have her stuff with her. I was like, girl, she's not even probably doing anything online.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I mean, she might have had some more stuff sent, but
Mm-hmm.
prior to the reunion, I'm like, I don't even know if she was able to do any cameos, let alone
Mm.
digital drag fest or whatever,
Yeah.
like,
I thought she was on one of those, but I could,
she
that's
could be, but, I imagine,
yeah.
her be with your family is not exactly the ideal situation.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and given the environment where she was in, no offense, I pretty much felt she was in the basement that was like a rec room somewhere. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, uh, I think, that overall it was good. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say this one thing because it is kind of an overall thought. It is not an eye roll. Um, Rue, honey,
Uh-oh.
mother, let's can somebody please talk to her? about the choice. Um, my very good bestie H watched it with me, having not really ever watched many episodes, is familiar with drag, has no issues, whatever. But as a lesbian, when we watched the show, even she was like, "Whoa." And then she said, "Oh, I know what she's doing," and then went scrolling through the internet to find a picture of a Cartoon Network character that she thought Rue was emulating. Because apparently there is a children's cartoon that is like shorter in stature that apparently wears a purple hooded cloak and a mask, but the mask was not the same style. It was black and white. And I don't know the cartoons well enough to know what this character is.
I don't either.
But
And as you're sitting here like talking about it, I'm like going, no, that's probably not what's happening.
so
But,
I was just
whatever.
like, I was like, oh, okay. And I thought, I'm not sure if that's the look she was going for. Because it was kind of like a luchador, like Mexican wrestler kind of like mask, but it was latex. And then some people have been commenting that apparently she was emulating a look that Aquaria had, like on her season, like with a similar like face kini, something or
Uh,
other. But all I kept thinking was, I just, uh, okay,
it's
it's a look. I'm very confused because the theme is slumber party, and girl, I don't think you sleep in that. Or would be in a slumber
yeah.
party in that. Like I fully expected her to have the whipped cream face, like kind of, cool
Mrs.
whip looking.
Doubtfire.
Yeah, like, but
Oh
right,
no.
but something reasonable that would work.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but
So
no, I was
I admit I wrote down like in like big letters like Rue is not in face, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I realized, and I think I told you that I believe during the reunions, Rue usually isn't in face.
correct.
So Rue's usually Rue, like he, like
Correct.
RuPaul Charles,
Yes.
and then the finale is when we see Rue
Correct.
like all done up. So, but yeah, I I kept looking at this mask and I didn't know what was going on. Like it's so it's not like a beauty mask. Like it's not like what you have on. It's
Mm-hmm.
nothing along those lines. It was actually like some kind of material. Looked like rubber, something along those lines. And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense, but that's not what you like when you see that color blue. I think of those like big, like puffy face mask,
Mm-hmm.
that have like that you wear to bed, like to help with the eye puffiness and whatever.
Right.
And that's what I was thinking of, and I'm like, but that's not the same thing. This is very much a um this looks like like a mask like someone bought at like Mr. S or something like that and threw it on. And I was just like,
Yeah, I I'm not quite sure what the thing was. So I
I
just want to
I know
comment on it because I was not ready for it. I was also not living for it.
uh same.
Yeah,
It was a choice. It was a choice.
that it was. Honey.
I the purple. I don't like. I okay. I know, like I said, he's normally not in makeup. He's normally not in face during the reunion. Okay, that's number one. But you could have done something else, like this purple, like sweatsuit with the hood up and then the mask on. Like, are you what are you trying to hide, Mr. RuPaul?
Well, I mean, there was a part of me that was like, you could have worn like satin pajama set
Mm-hmm.
and put a cap on,
Mm-hmm.
like a hairnet, um, a twisty turb, you know, kind of towel or something. Right. Like, I mean, you could have done something, but She didn't. So
Mm.
I don't know what the story was with that.
Yeah, I'm very curious, and unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever know. I mean, obviously, um, I, I'm gonna say it, and I don't know if you'll agree with me or not, but I don't know if she was even at home.
Yes, I did happen to. I'm not going to say I clocked it, but
Mm-hmm.
the background was meant to exude that it was Rue's house. However, for a little bit in the beginning, I kind of felt like it looked like it was a background on a green screen.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm not really sure if that is her home or if somebody like procured a high res, good quality, like aesthetic kind of
Mm-hmm.
background because Rue didn't actually want anyone to see the inside of her home, you know?
I
Like in
mean,
Hollywood.
it's possible.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to like I was because I don't, and I will, and I hate to say it, I'm sure she wasn't the only one. Like if you look at the other queens, you kind of look at them. Um,
Jackie Cox's
yes.
was one that I kind of thought I clocked for a brief moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I also noticed and paid attention. She didn't move around a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think who else.
Gigi's.
Oh, really? I kind of felt like Gigi's
I
was.
think.
I kind of felt like Gigi's was natural only because I was like, girl, you need a little better lighting.
Mm,
It felt very
maybe.
dark.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe Gigi's. I'll just put that one out there. I
yeah.
mean, could have. I meant to say because I'm looking at. Before we started, I have been rewatching an episode of the Drag Race recap on that Ms. Mojo did because it's only one of the few that I've seen that are doing something about like the reunion.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm now looking like I'm looking at Aiden, so I meant to shout out to Aiden for that moment of like having to like wig stands with the or and wig like styrofoam shapes with the fucking like black like wig that she has multiple of apparently.
I did appreciate that she decided to put on display all her pussycat wigs.
Uh huh.
Like I do not have just one wig, darling. I have
I have
several wigs.
6, 5.
And by far the best was that she was wearing this beautiful like
Mm-hmm.
60s bouffant a la like Elvira, meets Betty Page. Like, this
Mm-hmm.
really beautiful like throwback kind of like high, hair bump with the curls and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I thought she looked really beautiful. Like and really evoking in a way kind of this like Hollywood starlet in the boudoir kind of like I was really really impressed.
Oh
And
yeah.
I honestly, as a side note, I loved the whole shtick about how she is a bedroom queen, has been a bedroom queen, probably will always be a bedroom queen. She was made for quarantine. Like I thought that was hysterical where she was like she's like, this is normal for me.
This is my normal. I don't know about you bitches going and doing shows and like big clubs and shit. Like I'm sitting here like in my bedroom doing my thing.
Right.
Like I would love to see like her like I would love to see a show of her a bedroom show of hers. Yeah.
You ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay.
Cover girl, put the bass in your walk. Cover girl.
All right, so normally we stop the runway, honey, and we talk about the theme like of the runway, but there was no runway, but there was a theme.
Mm.
Slumber party children. So, David, what were your thoughts on how the queens did with the theme?
So some of them did really well. A few, mm, and I said, chains to bed. Um, I'm not sure. I'm wearing heavy ass chains to bed, and there were a few. Um, there were a few, and there were a few like cute little moments. And don't get me wrong, like I appreciate some that really kind of to me took the theme to heart. Um, but like I hate to knock it, but like Heidi, and I think Nikki, and even Jackie's like big like glamorous like necklace thing. I'm like, maybe not so much.
Now I know what you mean. I've been
Yeah.
listening to you, and I was like, I don't remember there being any BDSM. I don't remember seeing like any restraints. I was like, did I miss something? Because girl, I would have paid attention then. I would have been like, which one of these queens being that kinky? Never mind. Never mind. You didn't mean chained to the bed. You meant wearing
No,
chains in bed. As
in
in,
bed.
yes. Jewelry.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, here we go. I'll change it from chains to bed to chains in bed. There we go. Now it makes sense. Now it'll make sense.
Oh, that's too funny.
Second time I'm going to mention Mr. S again in a Drag Race podcast. So, like,
Everybody
no,
do
this
your
ain't
shots now. It's probably going to be a thing.
but
Nice.
it just like I said, it just caught me off guard, and I love some of the looks. I think my favorite. Let me get back. I actually really liked Aiden's. Like you were talking about, I really, really liked that. I liked the like that was to me, like you said, like a 60s, 70s, like Hollywood glamour girl woman. Like that would be like in a movie, like a bedtime scene in a movie where we never seen them actually go to bed. Like she would be wearing like the pumps with the little fuzzes at the head of it, and the nice like negligee that's kind of see through,
Right.
hair pinned up, like, but never actually ever really going to bed. But like,
Yeah, well, it's the Hollywood bedroom with the Hollywood
yeah,
sleep. Because, even if they do get into bed, like,
mhm,
it's just a brief sheet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everything is so perfect, and they lay down, and their hair cascades around them beautifully. You know what I mean?
uh-huh,
And you're like, miss, ain't nobody go to bed like that. And if they do, they sure as hell do not wake up like that.
no, they do not.
Mm-mm.
Like I
Plus,
was,
full mug, like, when they go to bed, you're
yes,
like, oh, no, no, no.
yeah, full face, makeup on, like, yeah, that ain't ever happening. But I did really like her look. It
Yeah.
looked really good. Um, And I'll also give a real quick shout out to Widow, because I think of the queens,
Oh,
she's
yes.
one of the few that was like actually in bed. Like I think she was in bed. Am I wrong? Maybe, I don't know. But like she was definitely in some like
She was comfy.
sometime. Yeah, she was very comfortable.
I thought she was sitting in like a big soft chair, like in a corner, but I could be wrong. I did clock that she looked beautiful with
Mm-hmm.
the big ass curls, the satin like
Mm-hmm.
robe deal. Like she definitely like came to slay. With the theme, it was like, I got you. I could do slumber party.
Mm-hmm.
Widow knows how to like throw it down and like have a beautiful mug while doing it. Like the only thing she didn't do, which would have capped it off for me, is had snacks. Like if she'd had like a little something, whether it be popcorn or whatever, like that would have cracked my ass up. Yes, very much so.
What about you?
So I will just say this: from the moment she appeared on the screen, this was my thought. Just give the damn crowd to Jada already.
Ooh.
She completely got the memo, was
Mm-hmm.
prepared, and figured out how to do a constant prop. Like with the satin pillow behind her head, perfectly
Mm-hmm.
placed, with the little Z's. Like, like she's like, I was just like, oh my God, girl. Like, you totally thought this out for an at home still camera. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, front facing only. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
She was living a bit of that, dare I say, Whitney fantasy. It
Mm.
was, I am a rich bitch. Like, I am beautiful when I sleep, like, and you will just eat it up the way it is. And
Yes,
I was really, really like pleased with that. Um,
I love that.
so I will say this: out of the three, if I had to pick one that are the top three that I would be giving extra points to, it would be Jada. Um, Gigi, I was a little disappointed in. I caught that she carried over. It seemed like the look of the character from the runway of the last episode, with the red hair pulled off to the side, um, the gown or whatever, the nightgown kind of thing that she was wearing, I think had echoes of the colors that were in the last outfit from the runway. Um, so like, but I was underwhelmed. Like,
Yeah.
I was
mean,
like,
it's there.
girl, this is what I would expect from you. Like, if I paid my $20 to watch you on, like, not for Reunited, so to speak. And then, I do want to give recognition to Crystal. Her Ebenezer Scrooge callback, like, um, makeup style, all of like 2-dimensional, like comic cartoon, like it was brilliant. Like it was so
Yes.
well done.
Yeah.
I also want to recognize the fact that she, as many people on social media have been talking about, held that candlestick aloft for a great long time, girl.
Uh-huh. Yes.
I also did find it quite naturally funny when the queens were like, when her light started going on the fritz, and the queens were like, just light the candle. And then she does.
I mean, it doesn't add any illumination per se, but it's just there. And I'm like, that's nice.
Well, I also clocked the edit because shortly after she lights the candle, they like go away and they come back to her and the candle's burning. And then they went away and Rue asked the top three their thoughts or something. And notably, Crystal's holding an unlit candle. And I was like, oh, that was recorded earlier. Like in the sequence of all the recording, I was like, well, that's out of sequence. Whoops.
Or it's after the fact and the candle blew out. Who knows? So many things, edits, etc., blah, blah, blah.
So, yeah, I mean, if I had to rank the three of them, I guess I would say I would give, like if I had to do it this way, I would give 15 points to Jada, 10 points to Crystal, 5 points to Jade, or to Gigi. Because I'm like, girl, you tried, but, like,
yeah,
you could have done better if there had to be, like, a ranking for me.
There's, like, the only other thing I can think of is I love that they asked that question about Gigi and Crystal and never really got an answer.
I think they answered it, but I think they answered it in the best coy way possible. Which, of course, leaves everybody to still speculate and say, well, you didn't really answer the question. And I'm like, actually, they kind of did. But, you know.
Okay.
You see what you want to see. Because I sure as hell did not, like, clock the kiss and then think that that was a romantic thing. Like, I remember briefly that it happened, but I was kind of like, meh. So I don't know.
They're doing a really good job playing it out.
If they really are a couple, they are an echo in a way of Vanjie and Brooklyn, like this Lady and the Tramp kind of like odd couple thing. Because by drag personalities, like Vanjie is gruff, like glamorous bougie, if that's a thing. And Brooklyn is very like statuesque and like pageant perfect principled, you know what I mean, like very, very put together, like would take a moment to think before she says something. Like, so to me, they were like not polar opposites, but they were not necessarily that much alike. And then we've got Crystal and Gigi, and I feel like Gigi is like Brooklyn. Like everything is well planned for execution. Like she does not really step outside a whole lot because that's an unknown thing and she needs to be prepared. Crystal, on the other hand, stupefies all of us for the most part because she is just like, well, whatever. I'm not sure. We'll see what what? And everybody's like, what the hell?
Fair. Very fair.
So that's why I'm like, maybe, maybe not. Who knows? That being said, are you ready to move on?
Yes, let's.
Okay. All right, children. It's actually our last category. Snaps and eye rolls. The hits and misses, the high points and the low points of the episode. Damon, what are you giving snaps to?
So I am going to give some snaps to some of the shade.
Oh.
Like, everyone knows I'm a... Exactly. My biggest one to the very first one that they threw out there, where they said, like, they started with, like, they said 13 queens, and then Jada says, 12 or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, shit. Like,
It's on now, honey.
there we go. It is on now. And then just like they did they did an actual reading challenge, which they've done in the past on Reunion with some of the queens that had been eliminated before.
Yes.
The actual reading challenge. So I thought that was kind of cute, but they brought everyone in on it, which I thought was funny. Some of the shade to, was it Rockham to Dahlia? I can't remember, but someone gave shade to I think it was Rockham to Dahlia or something along those lines. About how long she was on the show. It was just very fun, very cute moments. I will admit I was a little concerned that maybe it was a bit scripted. I don't know for sure, but it looked sometimes like they were reading stuff, and that's just me. Yeah, there was some. I liked some of it. Like, it wasn't all like dings to me, but like some of them were really funny and really good. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I will agree with you that I think, as I'm looking down while I'm talking, I do think that some of the queens had their shade pre-written, like for the library being open briefly, and they had been honing that, presuming there was going to be an opportunity. So, some of these queens are like, oh no, I am going to get mine, and put my comment in.
Yeah.
So I don't disagree with you that, some of that seemed like that they were reading or whatever. But to be fair, like, especially for Nikki, I was not surprised because English is her second language.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that, like, she wants to make sure that she's tried to read it correctly as she wrote it for the grammar effect.
Yeah. At least it wasn't too, like, obvious, like looking down at like a screen and then like, oh, let me say what I need to say.
Well, I mean,
like,
girl, it could have been a little more obvious.
Oh, true.
For those of you that didn't see what I just did on the audio version, I just held up paper like to read it literally on screen. Yes.
Let me. Oh, I can't move my glasses. Shit.
That would have been even funnier. Like if one of the queens had to put like, readers on and then hold up paper just to be able to read.
That would have been lovely.
My. So for me, like I originally had one thing and then I just changed it because I thought about it like while you were talking just now, and I was like, actually no, I want to give snaps to Widow for her rap.
Oh yes.
Because I do think it was prepared, but I do think it take nerve to be like to just put that out there.
Just throw it out there.
I don't know for certain, but I thought what they were asking was for her to do a performance of her rap from earlier in the season, and I thought that's what she was doing. But then about halfway through, I was like, wait, I think this is an all new rap.
Yeah. I think the question was like drop like some, a new rhyme or something like that. I can't remember the question because I wasn't really paying attention to the question, and we'll get to that in a moment.
Oh, yes, I see. Now I understand why you said that. So yes, but I was very very happy and very proud of Widow for doing that.
Yeah.
And I was actually quite pleased that all the queens were pretty much like yes, like they were just living for Miss
Yeah.
Miss Von Du putting that down. So that was very fun.
uh,
Oh, and yes, but once again, we must discuss the eye
yeah.
rolls. I am not going to
Yay.
disagree with you on this one, David. Go right ahead.
So my eye rolls are to the Vanjie questions. So we've got questions from the audience essentially, and they say these names, and then up pops Vanjie in like an outfit, and she's reading the question like Vanjie because we know she can't do voices. Um, and she's reading the questions, and she's asking like the certain queen, whoever that question, and I'm kind of like sitting here like, did we like not do we have to bring her in? Was there a reason for this? What's going on here? Why is she here? What's Although I will admit, I like the questions. Thank you, sweetie, for reminding me that he like Vanjie asked Jackie about like like did you find Vanjie attractive or whatever, and I was just like, I mean,
Ooh, no, she better don't.
Yes, she did.
and I will admit I appreciated Miss Jackie's answer because she is still dating someone, but there was a little like subtle like maybe, which I thought was kind of cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Linda in general, I wasn't a big fan of it. Like I didn't pay attention to it really because it was just kind of like I really don't need to see you on this stage again. Like you had your chance twice technically,
I will say
and
this. Go ahead.
no, that's it. That's good.
Out of the 3 or 4 questions that she asked, which she didn't ask all the questions, that was even more
No.
confusing to me. The one time she was on screen, I swear she was meant to be portraying her Britney apostolizing
Yeah.
character because I was
Like
like,
Carol
I'm pretty
Ann.
sure I clocked the same jacket and hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fact.
So if that had been her only appearance out of the 3 or 4 times that she popped up, that would have been hysterical.
Yes. I would have liked that. I also liked that they allowed Britta to kind of make fun of herself with I forget the name of the guy, the audience member
Joey,
and the question.
whatever.
Yeah. Asking the question, about like describing herself without using New York City. And I was like, yes, because that was hilarious. Yeah. And I'm kind of like twisted about it. Like if they had done something along those lines with like all the other, like another queen, like had taken one of the queens, like thrown on their boy stuff or had them like Crystal did in her commercial where she was like the blonde hair, like, gee, Crystal, like if she had done something like that and then asked a question, like I would have preferred that over bringing back Vanjie.
I don't disagree with you. I would have preferred if they had gone to previous seasons girls who would be willing to do it kind of like a cameo thing. Like at the very beginning, we got a shout out to Pork Chop.
Yes.
Like in the Shady Bunch where Pork Chop's supposedly Alice. Like I thought that was cute. So if they had gotten some previous queens, LA queens who would be willing, like, while they're busy doing cameos or Digital Drag Fest, just to record a brief little snippet. Like Pandora Box, I think, would have been a good choice. Any of the queens that are not going to be on All Stars 5.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's one or the other. Like, if you're going to do other queens from previous seasons, either you do all, like, definitively all the queens that ask the questions are going to be on All Stars 5, which we already know, so it would make sense as a tie-in, or you ask all non-All-Star 5 queens. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what about Raven? Let the cunty bitch
Well,
ask a question. Like,
well, Raven's got Fast and Further review. She's tooting and booting them all weekend. Like,
well, that's
it would
too
have been
her and
funny.
Raja.
I
So
would have,
we
I
could
would have
probably go
liked
with
it
other
if
girls who need a chance.
like, if they gave it to Raven, and then one of the queens was like, "Well, I have a question for you, Raven.
Oh, yeah,
Why you shooting my or like booting my outfit, bitch? Like,
right. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I just think a variety would have been better with one pop up by Vanjie, and that would be it. And then,
mm-mm.
like,
Yeah.
and I don't know if they thought about that. Like, so,
Yeah.
um,
What about you?
so my eye rolls are. This isn't as much as I'm gonna say it is, but it was definitively there. Produced drama, meh. Like the infamous Rock'em Sakura and the Bad Apple.
Oh God.
Like,
Yeah.
I was annoyed that it even came up as a
Yeah.
subject,
Yes.
but then, like, it kept going, and
Mm-hmm.
then it turned into the joke. Because if I recall correctly, then other people started like nitpicking about some of their stuff with other
Mm-hmm.
queens, and they all started talking over top of each other, and it got all like this huge cacophony thing, and then like queen started just walking out of frame, like I've had enough of this, da da da, you know what I mean? And they're just like boop 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 boop, like, and then at that point I started to laugh because I was like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12, they're all gone, like.
Yes.
Well, they were. They just like all walked off screen, like they all had hissy moments. And then Rue's the only one that's left. That part I thought was funny. It was kind of like, okay.
I bet. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Girl.
But it's true. Like, and that, so that part amused me. Like, but the production of the drama was like, it's just annoying to me. Like,
Oh yeah.
either there's real beef and there's real drama, or there's not.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I agree with you. Like it wasn't really necessary.
Yeah.
Like except unless they wanted to like give the queens like a break. Like we need this for the cameras so you guys can then get up and take like a potty break or something. Like I don't know. Like
True.
it just felt
And maybe,
like it felt
that's what happened. Like, honestly, in the production and the filming of it, you know.
because again like it was very forced obviously like it like the Apple thing I think was like stupid to kind of start with it. They really should have maybe started with like I don't know. They should have started with something maybe more recent, like Widow saying something to somebody or some, whatever. Just somebody who was a little bit more dramatic in in the season, and R had something like I just and then like it kind of like you said it kind of boiled and boiled and then it was like this whole like fake shit like people yelling at each other for no apparent reason. You hear like Gigi say Crystal like she misses Crystal or some shit like that, and I'm just like why are we doing this?
Right.
But maybe like I said, maybe it was just meant to be a potty break. Like who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Whatever it was, it wasn't. It was far too fake because literally like they come back and here all the queens are dancing to like the music and then they're all sitting down again. Like,
Right.
did we squash it over the break? We didn't even mention it again. Like,
Yeah.
so what? What was this?
Yeah, it was definitively silly drama, like
Oh
for
yes.
just the sake of it. Speaking of for the sake of it, that's pretty much the episode. So, David, we haven't really discussed it yet this season. I don't think.
I don't think.
We're down to the last episode. It's the finale.
Yeah.
Rue dropped the bombshell during the recording that
Mhm.
there will be 5 lip syncs.
Yeah.
Or 5 songs to be lip synced. And it was kind of confusing to me because I took it when I watched it. It meant all 3 of the top queens were going to lip sync 5 times each, which
Ooh.
shocked the shit out of me. But then, like, I've heard some other theories that actually there are 5 songs from which they might lip sync.
Mm.
And I don't know how that's going to work. Like, I don't know if there's going to be a round robin kind of thing. Like, I mean, the whole thing is obviously very much up in the air because it's
Oh yeah.
the finale during quarantine. So, but like, you know, we haven't really had this discussion yet to date about who we think is going to win.
Oh.
In terms of like prediction stuff, I don't know how I feel about like the whole most wins kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
to me, it seems obvious who is the most well-rounded, prepared, hardly ever faltered,
Mm-hmm.
and should be given the crown. Um, but
Yes.
I don't know if it'll go that way. So, um, I'm gonna hold my next comment for a second because I want you to like give your
Give my
thoughts about it.
thoughts.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's been like, obviously it's been some time, et cetera, et cetera. Um, I know who I think should win, and that's who I kind of hope will win,
Okay.
but I could see it going a very weird direction. No pun intended.
Okay.
Um, so personally, based solely on like how they've done the whole season and potentially how well they lip sync, um, I can I have been personally Team Jada. Like I love her. I think she's been great. She has been a pageant queen that is never really been pageant,
Mm.
if that makes sense. I've seen Jada, and I don't see like the Trinity, the Tuck, like her season, or some of the other like pageanty queens. Like I don't see that in her, like that
Right.
polish and poiseness, poise, um, as it were. Not saying she's not glamorous and knows what she's doing, but unlike a lot of the pageant queens that we've had over the years, she definitely didn't come in with this pageanty chip on her shoulder. She was okay with being a little sloppy. She knew that she wasn't great in certain things and she was fine with it. She didn't let it get to her too much. She was definitely not like the most like perfectly talking and what have you. She was very much a like down home kind of girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I particularly like that. Um, Having said that, I could potentially see, believe it or not, Crystal winning.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying that is they see something in her, and she was on this trajectory right there at the end until like she got to the bottom in the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
But like she was in this big, like she was taking this upward trajectory. She won the last challenge before the next to the last episode, and she was doing surprisingly well. And they were not finding a whole lot of fault with her.
Mm.
I did, but like in general, like she was funny and different and quirky and future presenting potentially drag in regards to things
Mm.
that like we get like in a Evie and a Sharon and some of those other queens that have kind of gone that route that are different and fun and unique and have that charisma too. So I think she was very much that. Um, so that's kind of how I feel. What about you?
So I don't disagree with you. I really feel that it's Jada's to lose.
Mm.
Um, and if it goes to Crystal, I am perfectly okay with that. That
Mm-hmm.
said, I think Gigi is a contender.
Oh yeah.
If she wins, I'll be disappointed.
If Gigi wins,
Yeah.
I mm,
I don't dislike her, but she's not unique enough.
mm,
Like, I think Gigi has charisma. I think she does have nerve, and I think she has talent. But in terms of uniqueness, I'm like, you did really well in some things, but you kind of skated towards the middle, like
mm,
often for me. Um,
mm.
so and no offense, I'm tired of skinny white bitches winning. Uh, not to be sizes, but I'm like, I want some representation. Thank you very much.
Mm.
So that being said, if Jada wins, well, we get a skinny black bitch who has amazing, you know, clavicles.
Clavicles. She does love her shoulder.
I mean, like, she knows how to silhouette. She knows that she's got great legs. I mean, like, it's hard to clock
Yeah.
anything on Jada that isn't
Yeah.
spot on. So,
Yeah.
um,
I,
and Crystal, she definitively, has charisma, has oodles of uniqueness, and
mm-hmm.
does have talent. The nerve is one of those things that, like, I think grew over the course of the season, but I don't know if it's enough.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
So, like, it's
Yeah,
it's
like
it's kind of a toss up for me.
I hate to say agree with you. I don't necessarily want Gigi to win. Like, but I can see it happening.
Yeah.
And that's just me. Like I can see it. I wouldn't be mad, I'd just be disappointed. I'm not
Well,
mad, but I'm disappointed.
there
Like,
is something to be said for runner ups having better careers than winners.
true.
So if Gigi does win, I mean, as the saying goes, if you get on RuPaul's Drag Race, you're already a winner. Like,
Yeah.
your name, your face, like who you are, is now broadcasted across a globe that did not know you existed before.
Yeah.
So there is a benefit to that. But
True.
it's like, if I want to see somebody, like, for representation, like, I would like to see a queen of color, and I think Jada, like, is poised and has put in the time and is professional and well balanced, and could really, kind of help clinch finally for once after 12 seasons a pageant queen winning.
Yeah.
Crystal definitively represents the kooky, the crazy, the
Mm-hmm.
strange, the unique and uniquely different. And they're like, we know that there's a ton of that out there, and so I'm happy that she's made it all the way to the top 3, because I think in the earlier seasons that was, I don't want to say frowned upon, but it was very difficult. It was a uphill battle to get the
Mm-hmm.
judges to accept them and then praise them,
Mm-hmm.
if any praising ever happened. And she's really a campy queen.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for that. So I'm not going to be mad whoever wins,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, it's not Miss Broccoli Stock, so there's that.
I would have died. Just like sidebar, I would have absolutely died if Dahlia, for like 2 seconds, when they like show her like had the fucking broccoli head out, would have died.
Well, I mean, they did
Like they
do
let
that
her.
like twin brother, like,
Oh yeah.
not so great photoshopped, like, thing.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been funny in the fight, quote unquote, that happened. If somebody had actually that would have been the better way to start it than with Rockham and the orange and the apple thing. if someone had actually said to Dahlia and been like, okay, Miss Broccoli Stock, Miss Ally, like, let's have a conversation about you being in every freaking episode of the season. Like, that would have been a better start of the fight. Like, that would have been
Yes.
funny. Because then a lot of Queens at Home probably, we all would have been like, yes, like, read her for that.
Yes, read.
So
How did you get this gig?
yeah, exactly.
That's what I want to know. How the fuck did you get this gig? Being on every fucking episode, even if just briefly. Like who, how did that happen?
Right. Like, did you refuse to leave? Like, did you just keep hiding in the warehouse and sleeping behind boxes? Like, is there a secret portal behind the shade button in the, in the untucked lounge? Like, what's the story there? Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the top 3. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through Friday night without knowing or having it spoiled in advance.
Yeah.
If I'm blessed and I'm lucky, I will be up late, but I will like stay off the internet and and just watch Netflix. Like,
there you go.
Shit, I just realized that I binged She-Ra's final season too early. Damn it. Because that would be perfect. Like, it would take hours and hours and it would just absorb my time. Do you know what I mean? And I could just like watch and then
watch something entertaining and then like, okay, time to go to bed.
Right.
And then get up in the morning and then you get the finale in your inbox and then you can watch that and then you don't touch your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's so funny. I was actually talking to Jim about it the other day. I bought the season pass for Drag Race with the understanding that I might possibly not be able to see every episode. Well, yeah, quarantine and Corona kind of kept me at home. So,
right.
I've been able to watch everyone live, so I don't have to worry about it so much. We actually intentionally plan dinner so that we can watch it together at the same time. So.
Right.
That was like, what, $14-15. I mean, I could watch it again. It's no big deal. I can, no harm in having it. And I'll have it forever.
Yeah, I mean, it is good to have it available to go back to. There's been a couple times this season, especially for this, like I've gone back and I've watched parts of it or a whole episode, like especially when we did the 2 episodes at once. And I was like, oh, I don't remember that.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So we are just days away, children. It is Wednesday. 48 hours from now, East Coast time.
Yeah.
The winner will be crowned. So here's the plan. As soon as we're done recording, and I have it available, I'm gonna make it available to patrons.
Yeah.
And tell Jeff to try to jump on that to put it in the patron feed so that they can go ahead and watch it. And then hopefully tomorrow, being Thursday, if Jeff can kind of bump it up a day to make this episode available, so that way if they want to watch this before Friday arrives for the finale, we'll see how that goes. And then tentatively next week, you and I will be discussing the finale. And so far we have a penciled in agreement from a guest. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yay.
So there will be 3 talking heads to express opinions on how the finale goes.
I should wear my coif again so I can contain all of the excitement. Who knows?
Watch, everybody comes back next week and you put a skull cap on. I can see my hair. Girl, that finale snatched all my hair. Yeah.
Okay.
That being said, if you have ideas or thoughts or opinions, you can get a hold of us online. We'd very much appreciate it. You can go to our website, cubsoutloud.com. You can also send us an email, cubsoutloud@gmail.com. If you want, you can give us a call. You can leave a voicemail message. We'd be happy to play it at 361-COL-TALK. That's 361-265-8255. Social media outlets, pretty much everything: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that jazz, including the illustrious YouTube where you can watch us. You just type in Cubs Out Loud as one word. If you want to join the chat, which I'm quite sure will blow up once the finale airs, you can go to tinyurl.com/telegram-COLDR. If you would like to support us, you can do it two different ways. You can go to Zazzle.com and you can get yourself some merch. Type in Zazzle.com/CubsOutLoud. We are currently working on a new shirt that is COLDR related. Damon has already seen what the design is. I just have to get it over to Jeff and have him upload it. And or you could become a patron over at patreon.com/CubsOutLoud for as little as $1 a month, and you can join us, and then you actually would get full unedited episode availability over there. So yes, you get to see the goofs and the pre-show and the post-show and all that stuff, especially this show. You can help promote us online. You can rate us on iTunes, give us 5 stars, lots of compliments. We appreciate it. You can Google Play Podcast, subscribe, Spotify, all that jazz. You know, praise, praise, praise. We love the praise. Damon, speaking of praise, where would people find you online?
If you wish to get in touch with me, and you know you want to, you can find me as TheaterCup79 on most bear-related sites or Facebook, or you can find me as pup_Umbra on Twitter.
If you want to get in touch with me, you can pretty much find me anywhere online as Gerber73. If you're interested in what I'm interested when it comes to drag, I did create a new Twitter account, which is Gerber73 Drag. So it's GARBEAR73 DRAG. I am following a whole bunch of the Drag Race queens. I purposefully moved that out of my other Twitter because it was very annoying to see like all the stuff about drag queens in between like the XXX stuff. So that does not mean I'm going to get away from it, especially this weekend, because a bunch of gentlemen that I happen to follow on Twitter also like RuPaul's Drag Race. So that's become a thing.
The possibility you might be spoiled.
Mute is like a feature that's really nice on Twitter because you could like mute a discussion, like a topic kind of thing. So like if Damon is following Bianca Del Rio and I only want to read about Bianca in my other Twitter account, I can actually block anything referencing Bianca or retweets from Bianca or whatever. It's an interesting little feature, but I haven't been able to do that with everything from Drag Race. So I just know some beautiful bear cub of some sort is probably going to, yes, and freak out about the finale. And so hence I have to stay offline this coming Friday. That being said, this is kind of the last time, before the winter, we get to exit to American by RuPaul.
Yeah.
Like you do. American. I am American. Red, white, and blue. I am American. I am American. Just like you do.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.